Welcome back. Today I am going to play a live rapid game here on this video, but because the rating that's important to me is my rapid rating on chess.com, and I felt like part of the reason that it was going down was because of the distraction of recording, I'm saving those games now for me to play on my own time. While I'm recording, I'm going to play live on Lichess, so I have already pulled up the front page of Lichess, and I'm going to click 10+0, and hopefully it will be cropped correctly, and hopefully I'll get paired soon. It does look like it is cropped correctly. I have the white pieces, so I'm going to play e4. I'm going to play the Vienna and see what my opponent does. They have moved their queen out. I don't know if that's good, and I don't think that it is. Can I just attack their queen immediately? It's probably not good, but that's what I'm going to do. I haven't ever seen that response to the Vienna, so I'll find out in this game whether it's any good or not. They can attack that with the pawn, and then I guess I can bring it back. Maybe that was the intent of bringing their queen out so early. And now I know I don't want to bring the bishop out that far yet. Let's just put it right here and then castle and see what my opponent's plans are. It looks like they wasted a move by putting their queen out and then bringing it back. I don't know if I should go ahead and play this h3 pawn or if I should castle. Actually, I'm going to play the... no, I'm going to castle. See if they take here. I don't know if that's their plan or if they just put their bishop there for fun. I'll have to get my dark squared bishop out this way, or maybe... oh, they did take? Okay. Maybe get the dark squared bishop out on this side. I'm just not sure. Is that going here? I don't think so. That's defended. I do know that taking the knight means I'm not defending the d4 square anymore, but my queen will be defending it if I play d4 now. So I am going to go ahead and play d4, I think, because they can't immediately attack it with the knight because they've already put their c pawn there. I think. So now what's the plan? This is so odd to me. I do know I can get my dark squared bishop out to pin their knight here in just a second. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get the dark squared bishop out to pin their knight. I assume they're going to protect it with... no, they're not. Well, I am going to take their queen with check. And then I'm going to take this pawn and see if they want to take back. Oh, actually, they can't take back because their knight is pinned. So I'm just going to go ahead and take their knight and then double their pawns. And I think I'm a piece ahead. It does look like I'm a piece ahead. Let's double their pawns. Then I will check them with this rook. Surely they won't come back to the e-file because I can check them with the other rook. Hopefully my audio is recording. I'm very paranoid about that now. Let's go ahead and put this rook over here controlling this file, and I'm aiming at e7. Okay, well, they've blocked that. I think I can put my bishop here to add pressure to that piece, and then put my rook here maybe? Or maybe they're about to get their other rook out. Maybe that's the idea. Oh, they're going to protect that? Okay. Well, that makes sense. Should I put my e-rook there, or should I make a hidey hole for my king? Let's make a getaway square for the king just in case. And I chose that pawn because who knows, I might need a getaway square for my bishop at some point. They are attacking my bishop. I think we should trade rooks here. Maybe I made a mistake by not taking the knight when I had the chance because... and also I think I miscalculated. I thought I was up a piece, but it doesn't look like I am. I don't think they'll take the bishop now because then I'll get their rook. So I think they're going to take my rook, and then I will move my bishop back one so it can come back out this way. So it is a good thing I moved the g-pawn a second ago. No, it's not. Because now I have lost my rook for a knight. All right. I thought I was winning, but apparently I'm not. Now it just depends on what the opponent wants to do. Do they want to check me? No. Well, I think I should start bringing my king, but I can't bring it this way. I can bring it forward, but then they can check me. Suppose I can put it there and blockade their pawns, and then I can barricade it in with the g-pawn. Like so. And then they can't dislodge that bishop with what they have now. If they move their h-pawn forward, yeah, okay, they didn't. What am I going to do? I need to protect these pawns from that rook infiltration, but I can't get there right now. So I'll go ahead and play h3. Okay, they have blocked their rook, so it makes me wonder if I shouldn't try to come in this way. But I think I'm just going to move forward for now. They can check me, but then I can come this way or that way. I'm not sure what the best plan is. I just know that their doubled pawns are probably going to help me at some point, or they should. I think I'll just do that. Right now, my c-pawn is protected by the bishop, and they, as I said, they can't dislodge that bishop without giving up a rook. So I'm just going to incrementally move these pawns. Not sure. Was their king trying to go around this way to get to my Now they can come toward now they can come here, can't they? Okay. Well, now they can't. Now I'm protecting that pawn. I don't know what their plan is here because, again, as I said, that pawn is protected. I'll just move this then. And if they take, I'll take. Okay. And now they can win that pawn. There's nothing I can do about that. So maybe I'm lost. Or no, I can protect that pawn by putting my bishop down here. Well, no, not while the rook's on this file. I have no idea. Okay. Now they can come in this way, but they didn't. They're going after that pawn, which I said they would. So I'm going to go after pawns as well, I guess. Or am I already lost and my opponent is just going to clean up and then have their passed pawn? That might be the case. I have no idea. I know they have to get their rook out from in front of it first, but yeah, they're just going to go there. So I'm going to do this to threaten their rook for just a second. It's probably, oh no, I thought it was going to go down here. It's not. Okay, well then I'm going to go there. Now I can maybe do something like this. Okay. And try to get my bishop in front of it, maybe? Okay, that's I guess that's what I'll do. Okay. Well, I'll take that pawn. And then I'll take that pawn. And their other pawns are on dark squares, so there's nothing I can do about that. I'll just protect that one for a second until they advance this one. Oh no, I can't move that pawn, can I? Okay. I have to give up my bishop for that pawn. No other choice. Oh, they don't know how to checkmate with just a queen. Okay, how embarrassing for them. But they hopefully know how to checkmate with two queens. Let's find out. There they did. Okay. Well, yeah, so as I've mentioned a couple of times before, that's how low my rating has fallen on both sites. Apparently, I'm doing so poorly in the opening and or middle game, and usually it's the transition from the opening to the middle game, or someplace else in the middle game, where I get so far lost that I have to depend on endgame. But I'm doing so poorly in those phases that when I get to the endgame, I'm facing opponents that don't know basic checkmates like checkmating with just a queen and a king or just a rook and a king. I'm losing to people who need two queens to checkmate, and that's happened a lot to me lately, which is a little depressing. But I don't know where I went down in this one, so I am going to run the analysis. Hopefully that will also be cropped correctly. Just below here, it says it is running a computer analysis, but there was a point in the game where I thought I was ahead, and then it fell apart. So I must have blundered, and I just don't know where it was. It wasn't, as far as I know, a case of me hanging a piece or something like that. Oh, it does. Okay, the graph that you can't see, and it's not quite finished yet, shows that I did have a significant lead even as we got into the end game. Wow. And I gave it up in the end game. Okay, I was up plus 5.5 as late as here. And them moving their rook over was a blunder. Okay, I'm going to turn on Stockfish. Okay, I did consider this, didn't I? And why did I not do it? That's a good question. I can't remember why I didn't do it, because I remember considering it because there was no way they could put another defender on that square. Okay, now that Stockfish has run a little bit, it thinks I was up plus 8 here, not plus 5, as the game review showed, but only if I played here. And my second best move was to move a pawn, but it was the F pawn, not the G pawn. Now, I do not like the default colors on this. That is why I changed to using the script. Sorry, the colors are bothering me, so I'm going to turn my script back on. If I remember how. Okay, that's better. But yes, I do remember considering playing rook to e7 here to put a third attacker on their d7 square. But instead, I began to worry that if I did that, they might bring a rook over, and then if there was a big exchange here on d7, then my back rank would be undefended, and so I got worried. I didn't do the full calculation, because I think if they had played that with my rook already here on d7, I think then I would have just taken here with check, and they would have taken back, and then I would have taken back with my bishop, like so. Sorry, my other rook, because my bishop would have been protecting it. They would have been in check and had to get out of it, and then yes, my back rank would have been undefended at that point, but they would be in check and have to get out of it, and then I could play one of the pawns. But instead I played one of the pawns here, which took away almost all my advantage. And their best move was knight to e5, which they played. It not only attacks my bishop, but it opens up this threat here. I have 3 moves that are rated very similarly, but bishop to e2 would have been the best. That would have cut off all those squares from their knight, as well as continuing to protect this rook down here, and save the bishop from its current attack, or its current danger. Okay, another one would have been bishop to h5, over there, where it would have, I guess, blockaded their h-pawn, and it would have cut off all of these squares from the knight. Oh, and it would have been attacking the f7 pawn in case their knight ever moved. And the third best was what I played, which did not give away much of my advantage when I took their rook there. And of course they took back, and then here I had to play either bishop to e2 or bishop to h5, or just h3 to protect it. But instead I thought that I had this nice little hide hole here, but that's what lost me the game. And that because it allowed the fork. Their only move that maintains their advantage here, and of course they found it. Because they couldn't have forked earlier. That was the other reason that knight to e5 was such a great move when they played it, is because it wasn't only threatening the bishop, it was threatening that fork here with my e-rook. Okay. So even though g3 was the move that gave away most of my advantage, it was the bishop move here that lost me the game. Well, we learned that. Let's go back to the front page of Lichess, and I'm just going to play another one. And yes, I have turned my prettier Lichess script back on, so the site looks different than you're used to, but again, I was getting really tired and distracted by the color scheme and the layout that they had there before. I like here where I'm able to choose my own colors. And you might have noticed I chose colors that matched the color scheme of my videos here. Okay, I'm going to play another one. 10+0. Hopefully this is cropped well enough for you to see. It's not cropped perfectly. Oh, I got the white pieces again. But you can see the whole board and most of the clocks. I am going to take a few seconds off my clock and recrop that just a little bit. They have played the Sicilian, it looks like. I'm going to bring knight to c3, and then I guess knight to f3. Depends on what they do. I've run into several people lately who play e5 here, and that throws me off. I'm never sure what to do when they play e5 in the Sicilian. But Mr. Barengo is taking his time, or her time. I guess it could be a her with a Mr. Or maybe my internet's cut out and I just don't realize it. It looks like my internet is working. I expect knight to c6, but at this rate we might not get it, or d6 are the 2 moves that I have seen most commonly here. Yesterday, I think in a blitz game, I saw b6, and as I said, I've seen e5 several times, although I don't know what to do about that one. I guess that allows me to put the knight in the middle. Okay, Mr. Barengo is taking their time. I have run into opponents who believe that they play faster, or who believe they play better when they're playing fast. And they may be right, because they'll do this thing where they let the time run down in order for me to relax and not be ready. And then suddenly they'll start playing really quickly. I've had that happen because this shows that they are connected. One other option, which I don't think I've run into yet, but it's a possibility. This could be a person who's recording a video for themselves too, and they're currently talking about their next move and their ideas for the Sicilian defense. I don't think that's happened yet, but as many people as are making chess videos now, it very well could be the case. I do know that on chess.com, by this point, okay, they've moved. I was going to say that on chess.com, by that point, my opponent would have lost by abandonment. They're going to play that way. I'm just going to go ahead and play d4. If they take with the pawn, I'll take with my knight. If they get the bishop out, I think I'll push this pawn. Okay, they did take. Yeah, see, they're playing very quickly now, which is interesting. Okay, they've blocked in their own bishop, so I'm going to pull my knight back. And then I can get this bishop out and castle. You see how they're playing very quickly now. So again, I've had several opponents do that, and I'm not sure what the point is. You know what? Let's go ahead and throw a knight in here, see if they want to trade. This person is rated 60 points ahead of me, so I do expect a competent chess player. I mean, competent, relatively speaking, relative to me. The idea, of course, is if we trade, then my pawn will be attacking their knight, which they'll need to move. Okay, they didn't. All right, well, I'll go ahead and make this trade then. Once again, my opponent is letting some time run off the clock, perhaps as a personal challenge, or perhaps due to technical difficulties. I always have to keep that in mind when a lot of time passes. It's possible that their app is seizing up, or that their internet has conked out. My opponent is in Nigeria, which I understand has decent internet, at least as good as Texas in most cases. Okay, they finally took back. I'm going to reroute this bishop this way so that I'll have 2 pieces targeting that pawn, I guess. Or should I get my rook over to the e file? I've been working on the Vienna, and I have faced several Sicilians in that time, but I haven't really had a chance to develop a good sense for the Sicilian. And because I've played d4 for so long, I'm not accustomed to it. Maybe a3? Yeah, let's try a3 here, and then I'll have ideas like this here in a moment. Not while their knight's there, obviously, but... Okay, well, they've blocked that for the time being. I am going to move this rook over. Maybe at some point I can bring this bishop back if I need to. I've seen that happen in high-level games, so maybe it's a good idea. I do like the idea of putting this bishop here, but I'm not sure if I should do it behind that pawn. I am going to push the pawn forward and then put this bishop behind it. Maybe because I played d4 for so long, I'm always leery of putting a piece in front of a c-pawn, whether it's a bishop or a knight, but that might just be for d4 openings. I don't know. I know this allows them to come in here, but yeah, they can just take my piece if they want to. I was going to put this bishop here, and they can take that knight. I'll be happy to take back. I will still have multiple pieces defending the e-pawn. They're not going to take back. Okay, well, they're attacking the e-pawn here, and that's going to be a fork of these 2 pieces. So let's see. I could just take it, but then they'll have 2 pieces hitting here. Or I could move one of these back or down here. I was talking about putting the bishop down here anyway. And then when they take, I can just take their knight. Let's try that. Or they could take my knight now. That's a possibility as well. Or maybe they're thinking about taking this pawn now with their bishop. No, they're not. All right. Well, then I'm going to take that knight then. And I'm not going to take here, even though my queen is protecting it, because then they would just take it, protected by their bishop. So I'm just going to move the bishop to where? Oh, here, I guess. Oh, no, now they can play a4. Okay, I don't know. I kind of want to bring this rook over so that when this pawn pushes forward, or one of those pawns push forward, I can be able to put my bishop here. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I am down a pawn at this point because I've apparently erred at some point. My opponent spent their 5 minutes that they ran off the clock. They apparently spent it wisely. Okay, I guess I can just push past that. I assume they're going to take it with their pawn, but something really complicated must have come up. The idea, yeah, okay, thank you. Took them a while to make that decision. They've saved that. Okay, well, let's go here. Oh, I've just hung my bishop. Good for me. All right. Assume they're going to, wow, okay. Let's just take that then. Do I have anything left? Probably not. Okay. I just noticed that part of the A file is off the screen. If it's been that way the whole time, I apologize. I just now noticed it. And it might be a case of that I switched to the analysis board, but I just wanted to check and see what the analysis was here. I made 4 blunders, it says, and I had a really big lead early on. My opponent playing e5 was a blunder, it says, and I should have, but only one move took advantage of that blunder, and that was knight D to b5. Only move that gave me +6 at that point. I guess aiming here at d6, which would be a check and force them to move their king. It says they would have one of their best moves here is, their second best move here is just to play king to f8 at this point. Okay, well, what if they didn't play king to f8? What if they played their best move, which is to put this knight in here? Then I would take it. And then they would take, and then I would take, and then they could take, but I would be up a pawn, and that would be +5. Their best move is to put this knight here, and then my best move is bishop to c5. Wait, is that, oh, sorry, bishop to c5 is here. What? I don't understand. Sorry. To keep them from castling? But because they would play b6, right? Okay, and then, oh, and then I would go in here. All that was to get my bishop in here, where they can't dislodge it easily, and I'm about to cement it in with this pawn? Okay, what if they come here, and then I play f3? No, queen to d4 now. Really? That's my best move and maintains +6, to put my queen in line with their bishop. Or f3 also maintains +6. Or queen to d3. Okay, well, I'm going to go back to where they blundered, because I'm never going to see any of that, much less all of it. I'm never going to look here and go, oh, I should play knight D to b5. And it says I would have maintained +2 if I had just brought it back here. But instead, I did something natural with it and brought it back to where it came from, and that gave away all that advantage. Okay, well, my opponent should have played knight to f6 here, but instead they put their knight on e7, which was another blunder on their part, but only if I play queen to d6. Okay, well, I don't feel bad at all for losing this game then if my blunder was making a normal developing move. Okay, then we remained fairly even after that, with apparently playing some inaccuracies, inaccuracy. Their best move was to take with the knight, but it's almost equal to take with the queen, which they did. I should have played rook to e1, which I talked about, but instead I brought that bishop back, thinking about coming around this way at some point. That wasn't counted as inaccurate, but it took us from 0 to minus 0.7. 0.9, so maybe it should have been an inaccuracy. Then that was inaccurate. Should have played bishop to c4 here, only move, but instead I did that, so I'm not sure why that wasn't counted as inaccurate given the rating jump. My opponent played one of their better moves. Okay, c4 was my best move there. They played an inaccuracy, where I still have a very slight advantage. My opponent now has a very slight advantage, but they made a mistake. That was a mistake. I should have taken the knight with my bishop. I only have a +2 here. If I take their knight with my bishop, they would take back, and then I would take this pawn, exposing their queen to my rook. Wait, why would that be so bad for them? Because their rook's behind that. They could just take this with check. Oh no, I thought I would lose my queen for it, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I would, because my bishop would be up there now. Okay, so if I take this, and they take here, and I take there, their best move is queen to f6. Bishop captures f3. Oh, okay, my knight's guarding this spot. That's why that's not good. Okay. I was just thinking they would trade off 2 pieces for these 2 pieces and it would be okay, but my knight's guarding that spot. Okay, so they would have to step out, and then I would take this. They would take back. It says I might as well check them. No, but it's changed its mind. Now I should get my knight off of that spot because they have 2 pieces pointed at it. Okay. Yeah, I don't feel bad about losing that. I don't understand any of those moves. Okay, but instead I brought that bishop back, which was a huge blunder, but they didn't take advantage of it immediately. And here again, I should have taken the knight with my bishop, but I didn't. I took with my knight, which was all she wrote, and my opponent made the perfect moves after that. Oh, except for that. That was inaccurate, but they still had a lead. A6 was their best move. I made a mistake because I just hung the bishop there. Okay, but see, I knew that was a blunder, hanging a piece, and I thought maybe that's where it went wrong, but that's not it. I was already down -3 before I hung the bishop. It's down a pawn here. I have problems seeing these queen horizontals for some reason, but I thought I was just attacking their rook. I thought they would maybe move their rook, and then I would drop this back and protect it with the pawn. That was kind of my idea there, and of course I just missed the queen move. But before that, okay, not even down -3. I was down -6 before that, even though I'm only down a pawn. Okay, well, I'm not going to feel bad for not realizing that I was lost here. I was lost here before I hung the bishop. Okay, wow. Well, hopefully you learned something from this. I did understand my loss in the first game, where I should have put an extra piece on, was it d7? I had a pinned piece there, or not really, but I could have pinned the knight by putting my rook in on e7, pinning the knight that was on d7. I understood that. And I understood that not doing that allowed their knight to come in to threaten my bishop, which also threatened to fork if I moved my bishop, which I did. That was all perfectly plain and clear to me. Nothing about this game is plain or clear to me. And yes, it did throw me off a little bit that my opponent spent the first 4 minutes of the game not moving, and then moved really quickly after that, most of the time making the best moves, or close to them, except for we had a series of inaccuracies in the middle. Looks like both of us played inaccuracies throughout this whole section here, but once it became important, my opponent played some of the better moves, and I don't mean better moves like maybe they were looking at an engine. I don't mean that. I mean better moves like some of them were just obvious. Like here, taking my bishop, that should have been obvious. I mean, pushing these pawns forward with the rooks behind him, that's a good strategy. My opponent played well. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I don't understand all the positions. I certainly don't understand why before I hung my bishop, I was down. So again, hopefully you got something out of this. Thank you for spending your time here, and I'll see you next time.